Hello again, everyone. It is time for another movie review VHS highlight. And before I do that, just to catch you up on things, life is not that great. No car, no job, no girlfriend, no life to speak of, no friends. Not really a whole lot going on for me lately. I was on unemployment from like January to maybe like late July, and then it ran out. But it was a lot of fun getting free money and not doing very much for a while. We certainly had too much fun living at the apartment, and that is just a long story. I know those other videos that I post and all those other things may not make a lot of sense or be so kind of fragmented or very short, but yeah, basically had too much fun living on my own, having my own space in my apartment, and now life is kind of catching up with me, and we are just kind of facing it head on, clearly, and kind of just coming back to reality, you know? So, anyway, as far as VHS, I need to say that this room has no AC, never has. Just a fan above us, overhead. A couple of other fans that kind of cool down, but in the summer it can get kind of hot, and then in the winter it can get very cold in here. My beard is getting out of control, and of course we're looking for jobs every day, doing our best, but really just trying to hang in there and stay positive through it all. But I may give myself a shave tomorrow, because this Santa Claus beard ain't it, you know? Anyway, so the video I just watched was Eddie Griffin, Dysfunktional Family, which came out in the early 2000s. It's a stand-up comedy special filmed in Kansas City, which is Eddie Griffith's hometown. Believe it or not, I'm not really a big stand-up guy. I don't like a whole lot of stand-up comedy, and to me, it's just, I don't know what it is. It's just like, I like a few comedians like Eric Andre, because he's just silly, he has his own show, but I can't just rattle them off and name them and cite comedian after comedian like other people. For someone like myself who has comedy ambitions and would love to do comedy and write and have a show on Adult Swim that's VHS oriented, believe it or not, I am not a big stand-up comedy guy. So the reason I wanted to watch this is that I have it, and the reason I have it, I believe, is that this tape may have came in what we call a lot, where like you buy a large amount of tapes from someone, and this just kind of comes with it. So this is probably how this tape landed in my life, and I've been bringing this tape to different events when I've been vending, and thought like, you know, someday I'm gonna sit down and watch it. And then tonight was that night that I did watch it. And what are some takeaways and some thoughts from this? As far as comedy goes, and stand-up comedy, I sometimes think that it's not necessarily the comedy itself, but how it's told and performed. In which case, Eddie Griffith's a star. He has a lot of energy. The way he tells stories, he's really animated. And then as a stand-up comedian, you are the storyteller. You are the singular thing that kind of brings it all together and drives it and moves it. So I like him. I like his style, but the comedy itself, maybe I just couldn't identify with it. Like, it may have all gotten a mild chuckle, but I see the talent and I see what people see in him. And I had read earlier that Eddie Griffith, as far as like some of his background, he's from Kansas City, Missouri, but at the age of 16 years old in 1984, he went to live and stay with family in Compton, California. that had to be quite the culture shock from the Midwest to Compton, California in the mid 80s. He also, by 1989, was doing stand-up comedy regularly. He became a father. He served in the United States Navy, but was thrown out for smoking weed at one point. Had an assault charge they had to deal with, but he kind of, on a bet, got up on and did stand-up comedy at an open mic. Wowed the crowd, got a standing ovation just by telling stories about his family, and the rest, as they say, is history. But you can tell he has that ability to connect with people. He's a likable person, so I'm sure he has made those connections and friendships along the way, and he is very entertaining. He does talk about pussy a lot and women's vaginas at some point, even with his own mother present in the front row. You can see her discomfort though when they kind of cut to her, him and his uncle that was present in the show. He has another uncle that seems to really like pornography a lot, that they interview and then show him watching a lot of pornography in this. So it's kind of like, it's the stage performance, but also like a documentary style that kind of highlights him and his background. And I'm glad I finally watched this. This has been more of a curiosity. I've brought it to events when I've been vending, knowing damn well that like, it's nothing against him. It's nothing against like his fan base. It's just maybe not a huge sought after tape like other things like horror movies or action movies or other types of cult films. It's something that I don't think anyone's like ever gonna buy. So I watched it, and I'll probably just leave it here and like never really bring it out again. But Dysfunktional Family, again, very talented. I like his energy, and it's just, maybe it just wasn't for me, but I do like the way he tells his stories, and you can tell. See, the thing about like comedy and comedy specials is that it's edited, it's all put together. So they kind of take like even like with BET comedy, Comic View, like those tapes that I've seen, like they edit and take the reaction of people like in hysterics, like losing their fucking minds, like laughing, and then kind of like put it and connect it with like kind of humor that's kind of mild and isn't that hysterical. So you're like, what's so funny sometimes, you know? But it's a mixed bag, because you do see like some people are in hysterics, and then some people are just kind of like just there, like they may have got like free tickets or something. But stand-up comedy to me kind of like goes on, and like after a while you're kind of just checking your 45-minute watch. And having a cousin who is a professional comedian, who I grew up going to many of his own shows, and then having to kind of sit through comedian after comedian to kind of get to him. The favorite part of stand-up comedy for me over time, and that time became when a comedian gets up and says, all right, thank you guys so much, y'all been a great audience. Like that was like the relief, like the climax, like that's like the like, oh, okay, we can move on now. But he knocks it out. He performs for about like an hour. It has its moments. There's some kind of offensive like gay humor at the end, but this was the early 2000s. He says as far as like offensive gay humor, he uses the F word quite a bit, and you know, you could use your imagination in relation to what we're talking about, what that F word might be. Some things you probably just couldn't go around saying these days, but I mean in such kind of sensitive times where a lot is off the table. But those were just different times, if you could imagine, where I guess anything went. As far as comedy goes, it gets worse and worse the further you go back, comedian to comedian. The history of stand-up comedy is just, gosh, nothing is off the table. And there's all kinds of offensive content for miles when you go back. So this is kind of tame in comparison. But I am glad I finally sat down and watched this. The theater that they perform in is like, must be some sort of like municipal downtown like art facility or some theater in Kansas City. I thought that's kind of cool. Like when they show the theater itself, it seems like a civic center of some kind. Like I don't know, it's things like that that I kind of dig, and I think I kind of like. But he seems like good people, good performer, and Eddie Griffin, Dysfunktional Family. Give it a whirl sometime, just like I did.